All right. Well,
Okay,
Aman
good.
Chauhan is now with us. He's fund manager at Abacus Asset Managers. Aman, good to have you with us here. Good afternoon. Thanks very much. Uh, you know, markets are, after a long time, showing some green across the board. So the question simply is the bulk of the fall behind us? And are we now, I mean, I know it's just one day, it's tough to say, and it's going to be tricky and all of that, but are we starting maybe the process of repair? It could be slow. Today it's fast and furious, but are we starting the process of repair from here on? What's your sense?
Very difficult to say. Today seems more like a bounce back. We have seen a sharp fall and more of short covering that has come in today. Plus, there could be some buying also because we have seen very sharp cut in the prices. But with just Maharashtra elections, the outcome just next day, and with the global uncertainty still there, I'm not sure whether we can call it that the bulk of the fall is behind us.
Mm. Hi, Aman. Aman, we'll get to stock sectors that you like, but what about what about the clients? How are they behaving? Money is coming in. Have you all deployed almost all the money you all have, or are you all sitting on some cash? Because I think the last time around you had indicated that you were sitting on some cushion. So have you all deployed, or are you still sitting on that cushion?
Money is still coming in, though the flow has reduced a bit over the last 2 months or so, but it's still positive. And we would be having, say, high single digit cash, but it's not, cash is yet to be deployed. It's not that we are taking a cash call based on the market. We don't do that. It's more of incremental money that has come in waiting to get deployed.
Hi, Aman, great to have you on. I was going through your note, the latest fact sheet November, and the commentary there, where I guess you folks still feel that despite the correction, valuations in some pockets are still a little expensive. But I think you still like the industrials theme, you like select financials. So just run us through the thought process right now. And within industrials, what are the niche areas that you would be comfortable buying now, even in this volatile market?
So what has happened in this market is stocks which have done very well, where valuations are north of 50p. Now they've corrected and they are now maybe 35, 40p. Still high for an entry P, right? So 30, 35p on the absolute number might still be justified, but not to enter. So that's what we are waiting for. It's something that we like when it's still corrected, but not corrected enough for us to look at it. So maybe a 20, 25p would be more appropriate to get into. And that is what we mentioned in our newsletter also, that yes, there has been a correction, but not enough to justify some of the pockets where we feel that stocks are good, but the valuations are not. On the industrials front, we like cap goods, we like engineering companies, we have decent exposure in them. We are also increasing our exposure into EPC companies, both civil as well as industrial infra companies. So that's broadly where bulk of our interest lies in that sector.
Aman, as many who we've spoken with over the last, since the election in the US, generally the view has been that 25 will be a little tricky for emerging markets broadly. So it's not going to be as easy. And the backdrop is, of course, very strong returns over the last couple of years for mid and small caps here in India. Do you think broadly, even if markets were to come back, I mean, the same sectors which have done well will return, or there will be some rotation? I mean, banks and financials, for example, people have been talking about for a long time. NBFCs is another space which has been beaten down, out of shape. Of course, with a lot of regulatory action, etc. What's your sense?
Definitely, there will be sector rotations. Sector that will continue to deliver earnings growth will continue to perform, right? So wherever we see maximum correction is where sectors where there has been earnings disappointment or where earnings growth has not picked up. So the narrative in the market right now is monsoons have been good, rural demand has been soft, but now it's started to pick up. If that narrative holds true, then next 12 months, rural dependent stocks or sectors will do well. If dollar has to appreciate because of Trump, then obviously IT and pharma will do well. So these are the sectors that have not been in the limelight in the recent past. So uh, if what the consensus view is, if that is to happen, then some of these sectors will do well at the expense of, say, PSU, which was the best performing sector over the last 12 months, or say a defense sector.
Aman, which is the Trump trade? I've been hearing so much about it. People say he's going to lay pipes. Some people are talking about the Bitcoin, and Bitcoin clearly has done 30-35%, just in the last 25 days or so. Then there's tech. So which is the actual Trump trade? Everything seems to be running according to Trump.
For us, the obvious Trump trade would be that the dependence on China, they would like to reduce it, and that throws up export opportunities for countries like India. So that's what, for us, what the trade is, that sectors where India can increase exports, increase its global market share, and that will get accelerated because of Trump, because he'll put in some duties on China, he'll put in some duties on some other countries. So that is something which is interesting. Any Indian companies which have manufacturing facilities in the US or in that region also stands to benefit, because the way we are doing it in India, that we want to reduce our import dependence and be self-reliant, the US also would like to do that. So anybody having a manufacturing there, it will tend to benefit. So for us, that's what it is. Dollar will appreciate, there will be duties. This is all which is known. The details of that will determine which specific sector will do it. But the broader theme remains this, that Trump would like to see more of manufacturing, more of import dependence reducing in US, and that's what the you can see the big picture trade for Trump is.
We are sounding quite excited, but that dollar index is not stopping. Now it's
Yeah.
around 107.2. And if in case you get a positive outcome from the state elections, that the street is going into this weekend that the BJP is going to come out on top, I think bulk of that state election news could be factored in at around 24,000 odd. And the dollar index needs to cool off to see further follow-through buying from here on as well. So,
at them, look at
it's
them.
been a good session, but carrying positions will be a little tricky.
But look at it. I mean, the market is
That's
up.
the rocket.
Nifty is up 600 points.
Yes.
Let's just have the Nifty up. It's actually from the time that we started. We started at 230. I'll tell you where we were at. We were at 23,850. We've added 100 points since that point, since 230, since when we started. So this is quite incredible. So we basically were trading with a 2% gain, and that is about 2.5% coming through right now. So the institutional flow numbers later today will be very interesting because FIs were short big time. Is it just largely all of that getting covered? And is there some cash buying impetus as well? That'll tell us, and that'll be interesting in that sense. Anything else, Aman, that you're kind of looking at, interested in, beaten down names, sectors where you're looking for opportunities?
Financial results, something that we're still very excited upon. More of private banks versus PSU banks, and within that, the larger private banks is something that is looking very exciting. Chemicals also as a sector where, though the recovery is delayed, but there are clear signs of bottoming out. So that is also something which is interesting. This can also be a good export opportunity for us. If China's exports were to reduce, then countries like India tend to benefit on the chemicals front. So these two sectors are something that are looking interesting to us, where we are working towards getting new ideas, getting something where we can deploy further capital.
Aman, also in most of your strategies, commodities find a reasonably big positioning, right? Most of the strategies are either 8 to 10%, some of them, in terms of contribution from commodities. So what part of it are you bullish on? Is it, metals? Is it oil and gas? Something else? Just take us through the thought process there.
So metals would be high single-digit exposure for us across our strategies. It is predominantly ferrous metals, and there's no oil and gas in that. And say we like stainless steel as a sector. We have an aluminum company in our portfolio. We have ferrous steel also in our portfolio. So it's predominantly towards the metal basket than oil and gas.
Steel, just to sort of take up a question again, because Nigel's been telling us about this whole, business of too much of steel in China, and they're going out and dumping in all markets. And over here, obviously, steelmakers are crying out for protection. So, how do you see this? Irrespective, you see better spreads ahead. Why the bullish call on steel?
So the bullish call on steel is that the way there's stimulus happening in China, there is a fairly high chance that the prices of metals will go up. So we understand there's overcapacity in China, and that is the case with not just metal, with most of the other products also. But they would also like to sustain a higher price so that even at underutilized capacity, they can make some money, right, instead of burning cash. So that's broadly what the call is, that the way China is focusing its economy, they would also like volumes to pick up, if not at least profitability to pick up for the sector. And that's where we feel that the commodity prices can further move up predominantly based on the moves by China.
The ferrous space, it'll be what, the long guys or the flat guys? I mean, which one is it? And you mentioned an aluminium player. Are you also playing the ferrochrome theme?
Not ferrochrome. So we have the largest metals company in our portfolio. We have the largest stainless steel company in our portfolio. We have some normal steel companies also in our portfolio. It's a combination of these, but not mineral companies or ferrous companies.
Okay, and the large metal conglomerate is the one that's going through restructuring, is going through a corporate action in the coming months. You'll have that one as well?
Yeah, so we have the larger metal companies or commodity companies in the portfolio.
Okay, all right, Aman, always good speaking to you. Well, before we let you go, you know, the other big sector that's got a lot of attention has been the likes of Zomato, Swiggy, Zepto. You know, clearly there is, you know, all of us have been using all of these apps and it's making life much better. We don't mind paying the little more to have some comfort. Your view on this theme, and have you played it?
We like these companies, we like the business. It's something which is sustainable. It is something which is high growth, which is going to go on. But the valuation is something that is still not comforting to us. So it's not part of the portfolio. We continue to like them, but yet to own them.
All right, Aman, we leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate you taking out the time and being with us here. Have a good weekend. Actually, you know, we were talking about